Here we're looking at an Axopar 37 XC with aft cabin. This boat was done by our team at Mabru Power Systems, and what we're going to go over here is the overall installation of how this boat's done. Before I walk in, what I'm going to look at, I have all 3 units running here. So we see the 3 different water discharges for the pumps. So we have 3 individual raw water pumps, 3 individual raw water pickups, and we'll go through all of that. Over here, we'll take a look in the cabin. So we have a Valmar display here at the helm to show us what kind of consumption we're having. So right now we're drawing just under 80 amps, so 79 amps with 3 units running. So we have a 12,000 BTU that's taking care of this pilot house here. We have a 7,000 BTU in the forward cabin, and we have another 7,000 BTU for the aft cabin that's also helping at the in the pilot house. So all these vents are rotatable. So when you're sitting at the helm, you can direct that vent to blow straight at you. What we'll do here is first we're going to turn on these battery switches. So with the 2 engines at idle speed, we're dropping down right around 40 amps of draw, so we're getting right around 40 amps from the 2 engines running right now at idle speed. Location of the units. We have the units located right over here. So we have over here one of the 7s. So you just take up these 2 screws to have access into that area there. We have some electrical components back over here. So we have the fuses 1, 2, and 3 for the 3 different units that we have in the boat. As far as the inverter is behind this panel over here. So this just pulls out, there's Velcro, and then you can see the inverter. It's a Mastervolt 2000 watt true sine wave inverter with 100 amp of charge. But once again, pretty easy access to get into there. This particular boat has four lithium batteries. So those 4 batteries will give us right around 9 hours of runtime with all units running. And what I'm going to do is pause the video really quick so I can get this this cover up. Or actually, it's not even necessary. Here's the cover. I have 2 batteries right in here. Under this floor that we made. And then I have 2 more batteries back under where I am right now, which I'll show in a second. Get this closed back up again. Let's look at where the other 2 units are. So here we have the 12,000 is feeding pilot house. We have the 7,000 for the forward cabin right over here. Let's go over the discharges again. We have 4, 1, 2, 3 that are fed off that 12,000 BTU underneath. We have this one over here and that vent over there that are feeding, so that's feeding off the 7,000 BTU that's underneath the floor over here. We have the display for the AC unit over here. These units are reverse cycle, do have reverse cycle heat as well, so they are heating and cooling units. Let's go into the forward cabin. This vessel has the enclosed head option. So what you'll see over here is we made up this little box. So we have the ducting passing through here. If we open up here, we can see the ductwork passing through. Goes into this box. And then on the other side of this box, we have the vent. And so that's how we're passing the ducting into the forward cabin. Talking about, now let's go into the pump system. So we're gonna go under these cushions here. And I have two pumps on this side. So this is for the forward cabin. So we have the full setup here, including this system here, which is our bleeding system. And then we have the full system over here on this side. So intake, valve, strainer, and pump. We have the same setup over here. So intake through hole, valve, strainer, pump. We have the purge system. You can see the little 1/4" valve over here. So when you want to purge the pump, if you have an airlock, you just open this up. It'll purge out the air out of the system. Another important note on this boat is that the lithium batteries that we have are also serving for the house battery. So there's no dedicated AC battery. We didn't have the room, and the customer preferred to have his stereo and everything also running off of the lithium batteries. So we have two more lithium batteries in here. The house battery's been removed. The original charger, which was here, was relocated over here. That's the overall view right there. That's going to cover us pretty well in here. So we have the inverter that's going to be charging our batteries off of shore power. When we go to engines running, we're then going to be feeding off of the engine alternators through the isolator. So it's going to directly feed the lithium bank. Let's look over here and see where we're at. So right now I'm drawing 45 amps with the units running. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start playing with idles. Okay, so here we have the two engines at idle speed 600 RPMs. So we're going to slowly increase these. I'm going to try 700 first. So let's say 750. Back this one down a little bit. So right here, looking at our speeds, right around 750, right around 750. I'm actually running at a positive state of charge. So I'm actually charging 17 amps into the battery now. I have 3 AC units running. And I have two Mercury 300s at 750 RPMs, and we are maintaining everything and recharging the battery. So running like this, you're not drying down the battery at all. Once you get to your destination, you turn the engines off, you would have 9 hours of runtime before you'd have to turn the engines back on and recharge the system or connect back to shore power. And what I'll do is I'll leave it here for a minute just to show that it will continue to maintain that amperage. And this can also be viewed so through your smartphone. If you go to, let's just make this easier. If I go to the Belmar app, I go to start, I found the gateway. So this will now say the app is connected. I'm going to look over here, and it's going to give me the different information here. So it's going to tell me that I'm at an 80% state of charge. My battery voltage is at 13.3. I'm putting 13 amps into my battery right now, 15 amps. Engine 1 is at 13.6. Engine 2 is at 14.1. And then you're going to want to exit this, disconnect, be sure, yes, I want to disconnect, and now I have my functionality through the display again. I'm Nicholas with Mabru Power Systems. That's my overview of the Axopar 37, and hope this answers some questions for you all out there. One quick thing I did want to mention, because I've had the question before, since we're putting an inverter in, why are we putting an inverter in? Our units are true 12 volts. We don't need an inverter to run the ACs. The reason why we're putting in the inverter is because we have a high charging capability. So that charger charges at 100 amps. And on top of that, it gives us the functionality of being able to run different appliances on the boat. So the boat does come with some shore power, some outlets on it, some 110 volt outlets that would only work when you're on shore power. So now those outlets will work when you're out. If you don't want to use the inverter, well, you don't have to use it. The inverter is there. It's a 2,000 watt true sine wave inverter, so you can run most appliances that you'd be looking to run: a coffee maker, a microwave, computer charger, maybe some sort of a boombox system. There's different options of what can be connected, but you do have the option of using 110 volts while out on the boat, and that's the reason why we're putting in, or why we're giving the option of the inverter. So I hope that answered any questions. Bear in mind on this boat, so we have these battery switches here. We have starboard engine, port engine, service, thruster. So as we have replaced the house, the customer wanted a simple way of turning on and off the system. So if you turn off the service, you're turning off all power. That also means that you're turning off the inverter. So it'll turn off the systems, it'll turn off the ACs, it'll turn off your screens, it'll turn everything off, but it's also going to turn the inverter off. If you turn off this switch and you connect to shore power, you will not be charging the lithium bank. So whenever you're connected to shore power, you want this to be on. Since this particular boat was in rack storage, it wasn't necessary to have all the time. So that's one thing I did want to make a note of. If this isn't on, this system will not charge.